Joining us on WHKY TV News, as he does every month, is our District Attorney Scott Reilly, 36th Prosecutorial District, Burke, Catawba, Caldwell counties. Thank you for coming in.
Oh, you're very welcome. Good morning.
Good morning to you too. And I know that the first thing that you would like to talk about is something that has been in the news recently in our area, and it relates to some threats were made using technology.
Exactly, and it is somewhat disturbing, although I would like to say that most of these threats are deemed to be non-credible. However, whenever a threat has come in, each one is taken very, very seriously. Our Hickory Police Department, if the case is in Hickory, works very well. They put a lot of manpower, a lot of resources into determining whether or not the threat is credible. The last two threats that have come in have been on what's called a app called Snapchat.
Mm-hmm.
And once that goes viral, it really puts a lot of fear into the families who have students at our schools. But the Hickory Police Department has worked with partnerships with the SBI, the Homeland Security, and are able to determine very quickly where these threats are coming from, and have been able to pretty much quell and determine that they've been non-credible. The one thing I would like to talk about is to deter these type of things. Our General Assembly has passed a new law, relatively new, in 2018, and it's a felony called communicating a threat of mass violence at educational property.
Mm-hmm.
So if a student is drifting or doesn't have a mentor, please don't do something like this, because you're going to be removed from school, you're going to be charged with a felony, it's going to follow you forever, and it's just not worth it. But this Say Something app is something that is being phased in 3 phases. Right now, Burke County has had it since November. Caldwell County had it started in January, and Hickory City Schools will phase it in 2 weeks. They're testing it right now, and they will go live in 2 weeks. And basically, it's training for students and faculty so that if somebody sees something or hears something, they want you to say something.
And it's an app for your phone.
It's an app for the phone or a device, and what it allows you to do is make it completely confidential. Anytime you might have a safety concern, not just about a threat of violence, but if you see somebody that you might feel that they are feeling depressed, or they're cutting, or they have feelings of self-harm, make those safety concerns. These concerns go 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, to a team of professionals who filter out. You know, they get all kinds of things like, I didn't get enough tater tots in my cafeteria food, or Miss Smith's giving me too much homework. But they filter those out. But the ones that are serious, they will call 911 immediately, and within hours they are able to determine where that threat is coming from. And they've really had some success stories so far. So I've been very happy with the Say Something app, especially now that it's coming to Hickory in 2 weeks. And I think they're going to determine that they're really going to be able to make some help, especially in the mental health area with children who might be have feelings of doing self-injury.
Okay, and so Say Something app, look for that. We have about a minute. You want to talk about maybe like some differences in how first-degree murder affects a case, whether it becomes a death penalty case or if it's just life in prison.
Exactly. Whenever a death occurs, a homicide occurs, we meet with the family of the victims. And of course, they're going through grief, they're going through anger, bitterness, the unfairness of losing a loved one, and you know, they have these feelings where we want the death penalty.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, not every homicide is a first-degree murder case. You can only get the death penalty for first-degree murder cases, but not every first-degree murder case.
It needs to be determined as a capital case.
It has to be determined as a capital case, and that is something that our office does by committee. We use a form with questions that we go through every single capital aggravating factors. Only a capital case is only capital if certain capital aggravating factors are present, and we go through each and every one of those, and we try to do it transparently, we try to do it consistently, so everybody is treated exactly the same. And unfortunately, when a case is not a capital case, it can sometimes be difficult to inform the family of that, who feels that the only justice would be a death sentence. And sometimes that's not the case, and it's a very difficult conversation. But I have found to be frank and honest and open with the family is the best way to handle this, and hopefully they can move on. Just if we have any other time, there was a case in Burke County where a family did take that to heart. They understood that. However, they wanted to see justice for their daughter, so they have contacted law enforcement and their senators and their legislatures in trying to find another capital aggravating factor, this one dealing with domestic violence. So if domestic violence is present or had been present earlier on, that would be a capital aggravating factor. So I wish them luck. They are trying to take a bad situation and make something good out of it and do something for their daughter who they lost.
Understandable for them to want to take that approach.
Yes.
Thank you so much for your time. A lot of great information as always, and we'll talk to you again next month.
Thank you very much, Rob.
Scott Reilly, our district attorney, with his February report talking about things going on in the 36th prosecutorial district, that is Burke, Caldwell, and Catawba counties. And with Scott Reilly, I'm Rob Eastwood, WHKY TV News.